I'm Barry Hendy. I'm 21 years old. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm from North London. My musical journey started very young. I was raised by a very musical family. My nan was obsessed with Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Motown, blues, rock and roll. And a lot of my family members were like in bands, in choirs, and I'd spend a lot of time with them. And I just kind of got all of that like fed into me. And from a very young age, like it was like, I was messing around in wigs and corsets and microphones. And there's videos of me singing and all this kind of stuff. And it was just, yeah, it's always been there. But I started writing when I was about 9. I'd say that was like the first time that it was like, I actually wrote a song, and it was about a girl. So it was a very long time ago.
Wow, how times have changed. So Motown, that's really interesting. Obviously, you talk about like glam rock as being kind of your genre and probably what you listened to growing up as well.
The one thing I always say, and I say it to every single person I meet, I'm a good singer, but I'm a better songwriter. My songwriting is my strongest suit, and I wish there was a challenge on the show that was fully like, here is a theme, here is a chord progression, write a song. Because I know for a fact, and this is probably people going to be calling me cocky or arrogant or whatever, I know for a fact if I had that chance, that would have been the moment where I really, really shined. Because I have spent so long, and writing was the way for me to deal with a lot of things. So with Motown, I fell in love with a lot of artists and mainly writers like Carole King, and because they would have these factories that you would just go in and you'd write 20 songs a day, and then you'd send them off, and then you'd have 17 artists cover one song in different versions, but that one song can mean so many different things to different people. And I think that's where my love for Motown came from. It's just like there's just a feeling that Motown gives you, and the style and the arrangements that they give, and it's hard to explain, but because it's so nostalgic for me, I grew up on that.
Yeah. What's interesting, because you said obviously there wasn't a challenge about songwriting, if I'm honest. I know they mentioned signature songs and that sort of thing, but they didn't really have a challenge around it. What was your expectation?
I did expect a TikTok challenge, and I don't know if anyone else has said it. I think someone might have, but we knew about the TikTok challenge before we walked into the actual competition.
Yeah.
So I actually thought I was going home. I was like, first challenge, I'm out, because I hate social media. I'm not good at it. And these last 5 or 6...
Sorry to interrupt, but that really surprised me, because I was like, if anyone is going to be, apart from Amel, because I feel like she knows her stuff like on TikTok. I was like, by far, but I thought you would be the next like really good TikToker.
You know how a lot of comedians or comedic actors, they're good at being in the moment with people and improving. That's where my sense of humor comes from, and I've got a lot of wit. So I bounce off people, and a lot of times, like when we weren't filming or when things that make the cut, a lot of times there'll be a lot of like a bouncing off between me and the judges. So, like for example, this is a really fun fact. When we were introduced that Ollie Alexander was our guest judge for the week, Jason said Ollie Oliver. So we were all like very confused, like looking at each other, seeing Ollie on the screen, and he's saying someone else, and he was like, "Do y'all not know who this man is?" And I was like, do you know who this man is? And it's like, I have that quick wit. But when it comes to social media and TikToks and videoing yourself and planning that, like YouTubing and stuff like that, I'm not good at that, because I find myself getting really awkward. I can't converse with myself. I need to be in a room with people bouncing off that environment. I can't just sit there and go, hi, I'm Barry, and I'm going to do this, which I feel like you're very good at. And I have to say, like, your reviews have been, you and the Project podcast, are 2 of my favorite things to listen to about the show, hands down. I love them so much.
Thank you. I do agree with being on camera. I guess actually my turn to reviewing and vlogging was the lockdown experience, because I love being around people. Like that energy like fuels me. So I felt like I was missing that, which is why then I came and did lives and interacted with people. But like you said, like not everyone finds it easy to just talk to no one. Doing that challenge now, has it encouraged you?
I would film little bits and watch myself and kind of look at them back, and I realized that the best way for me to utilize social media to my ability is mixing the two. It's a lot of the TikToks I posted after the show and more recently are me saying something, like for example, when I write a song, because I'm constantly writing, it would be like, this is a song I wrote called blah blah blah, and it's about da 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 da, and sometimes it's got quite a funny story, like there's one of the songs that's like meeting a guy for a day, and then this happens and this happens, and this is the song. And I feel like when I talk about it, because I'm talking about something I love, I get more passionate, and then having the song come along with it.
Yeah.
It's like you get these two different sides of my personality, which is the funny, talkative side, and then the musician, good at songwriting side.
You can actually visibly see the difference between the two sides. I think I said this in my latest review. I did kind of think the songs that you chose were great because I felt like they meant a lot to you. And as soon as you did covers, there was like a bit of a disconnect. If you were doing something different, it was like, I'm just singing a song that I don't really connect to. As an unsigned artist, do you think that maybe just focusing on your original is not the best idea?
I don't know how to explain it, but for me, I don't mind doing a cover as long as it means something. So for that challenge, the Live Lounge challenge, they gave us a list of songs that were all top tens in the last year. And for me, it was like, but I wouldn't cover any of these. If I was to go into Live Lounge as Barry Hendy, as an established artist, I'd go in there and I'd do a Queen song or a George Michael song.
Oh,
no,
so
I didn't want to choose that song. There was a list of songs.
Oh,
I would say it's probably about 50 songs, and we had to choose two. So the two that I chose between, just because I was thinking about doing the Harry Styles one, but Dylan said he wanted to do it, so I was like, well, you do it, because I feel like you and Harry Styles are probably more similar style. So I thought I can go with
Similar
the two
style,
that I had were Levitating, because in my head I heard this rock arrangement, which I still stand by the way. I love my arrangement. Or Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. And the only reason I didn't choose that one is because to me, Live Lounge is about taking a song and changing it. So if I did Good For You, I would be doing Good For You as a cover, not the Barry Hendy version, because there's elements of rock in there.
It is an interesting comment, because if I had gone on the show, I would have thought the same. I would have thought, let me go so far away from a genre and bring it to me and who I am as an artist. But I know a couple of the contestants, like Mia does that quite a lot, take songs that are in her realm. Dylan does the same thing, where it's not pushing the envelope, it's kind of doing something that, like, I could see them writing the same songs, if that makes sense. They're not stepping outside their comfort zone.
The thing that really gets me, and I wouldn't say sad, because I'm not unhappy with anything that was shown. It's just a bit upsetting that the only things that were really shown for the whole series for me was just a lot of confidence. And yes, I have that, and I am a very confident person, but it didn't take into account the other moments. And a lot of contestants can attest to this, that when I was in the house, especially in Mel, like me and her were very close, every single week I would say to her, I'm going home, because I am my own worst critic. And when you get put into a position where you're going to have to do a Becky Hill song, a dance number on the O2 stage, they're going to cut your in-ears, which we didn't know about, but dance isn't my style. I can dance to a certain degree, and I love writing dance music, but I'm not a dance artist. That's not my style. And then when you go, let's do a music video, but we're going to give you another pop dance track, and you're going to have to do choreo and glitz and glam. That's not what I would do in a music video. So it was hard. And I would say in those moments, I'm struggling right now. Like, being in a group, you have to stand out, but you also have to blend. And that was the one thing that it got to me a little bit, watching some comments back about the group challenges, because I will admit that I'm a lot of things. Like, I'm loud, I'm overpowering, I'm overbearing, a lot of things that we're seeing on the show. But I never, ever, ever pushed anyone out or said, we're doing this, I don't care what you think. I would never do that. When we walked into situations, the O2 challenge, there was 4 of us in one group. Okeem isn't going to say much. Mia isn't going to say much. And Seisel and me are very similar. We're both big personalities. When we walked in there, I said, I'm happy to do this bit. I want to do this bit. I want to do this bit. I said that because it's a competition. But we got to the point where we realized that's not how it's going to work. So I then sat there and I said, right, okay, I rearranged that song 4 times because no one was really happy. I did that. And I took it on my own back to do that until everyone was happy. I took everyone's feelings into account.
I said this in my review. Like, as soon as you showed a little bit of vulnerability, that's when I was like, oh, I can relate and connect to the, not even being overconfident, but like pushing the confidence, because you kind of want to get out of that space of insecurity.
I don't know where this idea came from of being like this super egotistical, cocky character, because that's not who I am. I'm just like everyone else. Like, I'm wildly insecure, you know, being the fat kid, the gay kid, the ginger kid with gap teeth, and, you know, very overtly queer and very femme, and, you know, my body, and especially in the queer community, like body image and all these things, it's a lot of stuff that you take in and you feed, and you put yourself out there and you think, I'm not good enough. I feel that every single day. And there will be many times in the show where I would say, I'm not feeling it today. But I also had to say, I am confident, I'm here for a reason, and I'm good enough. And I don't think, and people will probably shoot me down if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that I'm good enough. Because if you don't think you're good enough, why are you on the show?
Yeah. Would you do another TV show?
100%. I would rather do a show that takes in everything into account, much like Project Icon. I'd say if I could do a show that wasn't drag, I would do Drag Race. Because as much as I love drag and I love dabbling in drag, I'm not a drag queen. And I wouldn't want to take an opportunity from someone else that their whole life is drag. And I've thought about auditioning for Drag Race, but it's not my gig. I would possibly do Big Brother. I think Big Brother would be quite cool. And I feel like my personality, like you said, is Marmite. And I feel like it could create some good moments. I do agree that I kind of... I don't think they pitched me as a certain character. I feel like once the show was finished and they could pick out moments, they then looked at storylines as a whole and realised that, for a lack of a better term, I was kind of involved in all of them.
I have to ask the beef, because it kind of episode 1, 2, it was a bit, chill. But some of the beef felt like they came out of nowhere. I think in episode 1, you and Sizel have a bit of back and forth. You say that she shouldn't be there over Lily Joe. I think that was the case with where it stemmed from. How much of that was real? How much of that was banter?
I didn't find it out because I've always had this issue, and my friends and family said the same thing to me about my sense of humour. I'm very honest as a person in general. It's just the way I've been raised. I was raised by an Irish family and a very London family, like these two very particular straight up sides. So I never really got the chance to be delusional and be fake and be anything else than myself. That you don't get a chance to do that. If my mum felt like I was being fake, she'd tell me. So it's like you have to switch that off right then and there. With Sizel, that particular situation, it was obviously about the Lily Joe thing. Me and Lily knew each other before the show, which is a little bit of tea. So we walked in there kind of knowing of each other, and we had very similar groups of friends growing up. With the Sizel thing, I think the issue there was I was seeing a version of myself or parts of myself that other people see of me, but I don't really see. So because you see those, I don't want to say negative because I don't think it is negative. I think it's just the standout traits, the confidence that I am a diva and not I'm the best, but I'm fucking good and I'm going to show you why I'm good. I think having two personalities like that with me and Sizel is the reason we clashed. In terms of the Lily Joe thing, I didn't say Sizel didn't deserve to be there. I only spoke about my feelings towards Lily Joe because me and her were close. That was it. I never disregarded Sizel for why she should or shouldn't be there. I don't feel like that was my place to say. I'm not the casting director. I don't have a record deal. I actually apologized to Sizel 3 times. Once as soon as we finished filming, once when we got back to the house, and once in the morning, and then again in episode 2. So 4 times. We had a conversation, we were open about it, and I'm not the kind of person where I hold grudges. I don't like grudges. I think they're stupid. I think as human beings, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to say the wrong things. And that's completely normal. And that's okay. So with Sizel, it was like, I spoke out of turn in one of the moments. One moment I was asked, one moment I spoke out of turn. I'm going to give my opinion. If you don't like it, that's okay. We can talk about it afterwards.
So I've seen some snippets of you guys like at the house, but not on the show. Like they didn't really show much of you guys going back home and really... I don't know, like how the situations go back when you're at home. Do you talk about it?
It's like getting ready for like a really stressful family event. So like, when you're like getting ready for a family wedding or a family party and your mum's shouting at you because the sandwiches aren't in the fridge and your dad's stressed because he's trying to load up the car and then your sister's running around and that's what it was like filming. And you're all like shouting at each other and you're all really like, fuck off, get out of my face, like you're pissing me off, like please leave me alone. Once we stopped filming, it's almost like going for a pint after work. You go home, you take off your clothes, your makeup, you get your hair up, you sit down on your sofa, and then you go, you fucking bitch, you said that about me. And then you have that laugh in that moment. And we all squash it, and we're literally like, oh my God, we're being silly, I'm sorry. And it's almost like once those cameras come back on, you're back at work. And it's like, because obviously the producers, they're not telling you what to do, but they're bringing up things like, Barry, why don't you ask this person how they felt about that? Sizel, why don't you ask this person how they felt about that? They're bringing up that drama again. So in your mind, we've just been at home yesterday kicking it and having a drink and having a laugh and having pizza. Today, we're back at work and they're bringing it back up and then you have to relive it. And that's the reason that it felt like a lot of things were dragged out.
Yeah. Well, I had a question from Ink Duo Denim,
Oh,
who's
I love
Dimitri. He was on a
Dimitri.
BBC Three show, Go Hard, Go Home. Actually asked, "What do you think about Mia based off the latest episode of what she said? Did you know she was going to say that, and has she apologized?" Because that to me, when I watched that, I was like, "What the hell? Like, where has I didn't even know you had any issue with her." And then it felt like the way she described it was she's had the worst experience because of you. So I was
Um,
like, where is this coming from?
so if I'm going to be completely honest, that really hurt. Like I've said, I am a
Mm,
lot of things. Like I am loud, I'm brash, I'm OTT, I'm the drama king, like I'm shady. But the one thing I'm not is nasty, and the
mhm,
one thing I'm not is underhanded, and I will never ever
mm,
drag anyone down. That's not how I play games. I don't need to drag you down to make myself
mm,
feel better.
mm.
And one thing I always did, and I feel like a lot of contestants going to test for, even Seisel, who me and her didn't see eye to eye at first, I lift people up. I make sure that you feel okay. And
Mm.
when I left the competition, you see the bit between me and Mia where she says, "Oh, I just said that you weren't someone I'd work with because of our personalities." And they cut out the bit where she says, "You're really confident. I'm not so confident. It just doesn't mesh." In that moment, I was
Mm.
like, "Oh my God, you're being stupid. You're so
Yeah.
talented. You're incredible. Go and fucking smash it," which is what I said. Before I actually watched it,
Mm.
because we get a weekly thing of what we're supposed to post for the week. So I saw Mia's interview. So all I saw was
Right.
just that interview and the bits of her being like, "Barry's dragged me down and Barry's been negative." Then to see the
Mm.
confessional bits where she
Mm.
says, "I'm saying this on purpose to make sure the judges know," or "I didn't forget my words," and the
Mm.
best thing
Mm.
about Barry being in the bottom two is the best thing in the last 3 weeks. Like to hear that, it really hurt because as far as I was aware, there was no problem. And we've had a conversation. We've absolutely like
Right.
she. I mean, I apologized. I wouldn't say I apologized because I don't fully feel like I did anything wrong. But we had a conversation at the premiere where I approached her and I just said, "Look, whatever's been said has been said. I don't hold grudges. This shit is 3 months ago. We're here having a great time. Let's just forget about it." In hindsight,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how
Mm.
bad the things she said were, but we
Mm.
have spoken about it. She has apologized. She approached me, and
Okay.
this show it's intense. You're filming for 2 3 days sometimes, and it's 14-hour days, and you're up and down to London and Manchester, and you're not sleeping. And a lot of times Mia was sleeping in the
Yeah.
cars because she was so tired. So I completely understand why she might have felt some type of
Mm.
way. It hurt, but I get it. I don't hold grudges. I
Mm.
don't wish her any ill will. I think she's incredibly beautiful. I
Yeah.
think she's so talented, and I think that
Yeah.
being 18, 19 on this platform is scary. So it could take you to a place you might not
Mm-hmm.
feel super comfortable with.
I think that's a great reflection on yourself to be able to kind of brush that to a side and say let's move forward and kind of keep it positive. I think also maybe some people should take into account that producers can kind of drag something out of you. Like they're like, okay, so if somebody was going to describe Barry, what would they say? And she would just say, oh, he's loud, he talks a lot, he's really dramatic, and they could snip that in where they need to. So I think some sound bites could be used for TV, but she did say what she did. And I do agree with like some of the judges this episode have said like it showed her immaturity a little bit, and she's quite young. You're not used to having cameras around, having the pressure of being in a competition.
I think if I'm correct, Mia is the youngest of two
Hmm.
siblings. I'm the second oldest of 6 siblings.
Okay.
I come from a big family. So growing up,
Okay.
I had to mature very quickly.
Yeah.
Um, and also, it's in me,
Hmm.
like, it's just part of my nature to look after people, which is where I know I didn't do what she
Mm.
said I did. Because when it came to Seisel, I
Right.
owned it, I apologized, I took it on. When it
Yeah.
came to the penguin
Yeah.
comment, which
Yeah.
has been memed, that
Yeah.
was a joke, and I didn't realize the effect it had on Megan, especially, or Mel, sorry. As soon as I knew,
Mm.
I held my
Mm.
hands up and I apologized, and I apologized about 3 times in that moment. And obviously, me and her were close, so to think that I'd upset her, I
Hmm.
was like, shit. I apologize. I apologize to
Mm.
Dylan as well, because that would never be
Yeah.
my intention. Like I said, I don't play dirty. Um, I know when I've done something
Yeah.
wrong and I take it on and I apologize. I didn't do anything wrong in that moment. I think
Yeah.
what it was is, like she said, I'm very confident, I'm loud. She's not. She's in this scenario, she is 18, she's not very confident, she is a bit shyer than me, well, a lot shyer than me, because I'm just going to overpower everyone. I think it just kind of was a miscommunication between that, and maybe she thought me bigging myself up, or me being honest and saying, Mia, like in the recording studio, Mia, you need to give it more. That's not me saying you're not giving enough. That's me saying, I need you to give 120%. This is a group challenge. We're going to smash this. I think it's just the way I direct things. I'm very blunt in the way I talk. A TV show like this, where the judges only judge you on what they see, because it's being filmed in real time, as in like we're getting judged and filmed at the same time. They don't see everything. They don't see every moment where I'm in a confessional saying, I don't feel confident. I feel like shit today. I'm not confident in this challenge and I feel like I'm going to fuck up. They only see the bits where I'm in front of them going, I'm Barry, I'm amazing. Because I'm telling myself that. It's not something that I truly believe every single day when I wake up, and I don't always think I'm the most incredible person on the planet and everyone else is lower than me. I just say that I'm good because I have to believe that. If I don't believe that, then sorry.
Also laughing at the same thing because you need to clean
I moved, basically, my friend bought her George Foreman, but I'm the only person that uses it. And I have ADHD, so a lot of times I will just leave things and like come back to it in like 3 days. She's not like that. So she's currently onto me because I cleaned it yesterday and then I used it again today. And because it's not clean, they're in the comments right now bullying me about George Foreman. I'm going to clean that shit right after this.
Let's talk about a little bit about the Twitter reaction. I know we've kind of spoken on Instagram a little bit about how people have reacted to seeing you on the show and how intense some of those comments can be. And it's actually disgusting, like that people think it's okay to talk about someone like that. How have you dealt with that backlash, maybe of the perception that they see, and also do you get any support from the show on deal with this?
Before the show, we have to have a psychoanalysis type thing. So like with a professional licensed therapist, they review you and they say, I think this person's good to go on the show. And I spoke a lot about being bullied and all those things, and this lovely lady, she was like, do you think you're strong enough to go on here, because you will get backlash? And what I said to her was, there is nothing else that anyone else can say that is worse than what I tell myself. That's what I live by. So to all the people on Twitter that have something to say, that doesn't bother me. I don't get hurt by that, because to me, you are beneath me. You have to dig at people because you are insecure and you are lower than what I am in my feelings. For you to say, you know, Barry is he, she, they, Barry is this, Barry is that. That doesn't bother me, because why should it? You're not the one with the record deal. Your opinion does not matter to me. And I always find that when I like to reply to them, because I think it's funny. Like, there was one where this person said, oh, and this show is a joke, and the guy with the missing tooth. And I was like, babe, I have all my teeth. I just have a big gap. Like, the facts are the facts. I have all my teeth. They're in my mouth. I never had a man that looked like me doing what they're doing on stage. And I had a lot of that inspiration from glam rock, which is what I talk about, like from the 70s and 80s. But me growing up, watching like Viva at 5 a.m. when I couldn't sleep, and watching the music videos and seeing all these like very masculine men shirtless, or these very beautiful women that are doing what they're doing, there were no real like queer representations that looked like me. And the only queer people that were on TV and that I grew up watching were like these skinny white twinks. And I'm not a skinny white twink. I'm white, but I'm not skinny and I'm not a twink. So
Billy Joe agrees, you slayed, and he's above you all. That's what she said.
Sister, like, for real, that girl, like being in the house with her, we only got a short time, but we speak every single day on the phone. Like, we are that close.
Oh, that is really nice. Notice a lot of you off the show are super close now. You know, how did you keep in contact while they were kind of continuing their journey? And who would you say are like the people that you're still talking to regularly?
When we were on the show, obviously we lived together. When Lily left, we had already exchanged phone numbers. So when she left, I was able to talk to her when I was in the house. When Sizel and Jay, I did not speak to Jay for at least 2 months after filming, because he was like, because his
wow.
Instagram had quite a big following. So to be able to message him was non-existent. It wasn't until I actually got his phone number from a producer who put us in a group chat together to talk about the show coming out that I got his number. I've got everyone's numbers after the show from the producer chat, and then we made our own little secret one so we could, you know, goss and chat and do all the fun stuff. We'd all had little meetups here and there. Meg had come down and she stayed with Lily, and I'd gone and see her on New Year's. Me and Sizen and Lily had hung out. I'd seen Dylan, I'd seen Charlie, I'd hung out with Jay. And I obviously like would speak to Nena and stuff like that. We'd all spoken at the premiere for the first time all together, all 10 of us, in the first time in like 4 months, considering that the first episode was filmed at the end of November. So to have that moment, we were all kind of standing around like, guys, we've just watched the first episode. Whatever's been said has been said. It is what it is. Shade is going to be shade, but love is going to be love. When you watch shows like Love Island and someone goes home after 3 days and someone's crying and you sit there and you go, what are you crying about? They've been there 3 days. When you live it, genuinely it changes your perception. Like Jay leaving just after the first day, that was the second time I met Jay because I met him at auditions and me and him really got on. That hurt. And then Lily going home after 3 days, that hurt. And then Sizen and Charlie going home after 7 days, it was like, whoa, like this is harsh. And you become close to these people because you're sleeping in the same house, you're eating together, you're singing together, you're in a hot tub together. Like you have these moments where you are bonding and you are, you're learning people's stories and you're learning people, you're getting to feel people's emotions in their hearts, and you're seeing every little inch of leaving the milk out and who doesn't put their washing away and who's leaving the hairspray on the cupboard.
Who's not cleaning their George Foreman? Who's not cleaning that up?
Just dip right now.
Did you get like the feedback from the judges also post-show? I know I spoke to, I think it was Amel that had mentioned they kind of don't do it in the process because like obviously they're there to critique what they see, but maybe just as you're leaving, they kind of say, okay, these are the things you should work on. These are the things that you should like, I don't know, improve or whatever. Did you get any of that?
Frank wasn't there when I left. He was not well, which really upset me because I really like Frank. And me and Frank would have a little bit of the odd banter here and there. The comment I got from Becky was refine, focus on yourself, don't be too hard on yourself. And then the comment I got from Jason was he thought I was one of the best vocalists in the show and he wanted me to hone in on a particular sound, because I think that's the message the judges were getting a lot, which I will say, signature song, the song that I did, that was the same song I submitted for the playlisting team, that wasn't my initial choice. The reason that I did that one is because it's the only one that's produced to a good level. I'm not gonna, I would rather you tell me that you don't think it suits my style but it sounds good than you tell me the song sounds like shit. And that was my I have a song that is
that makes sense,
my best song. Like I sing it every single gig. It's the one song, maybe like 1 out of 3 songs that every single person that comes to my gig knows the words, and it's called Heartbreak Hotel, and it is like exactly what I say I am. And I wish I could have shown that on the show, but I don't have it produced, and I'm not going to sell a half-assed performance. It's just not me. I'm a perfectionist, so
no, that's fair.
If I'm going to sell you a piano ballad, babe, you're going to like the piano ballad.
Lily Jo mentioned the book club story. What is that about?
Okay, Lily, Amel, Mia, Dylan, Sizel, and Jay were all on the first audition day. So we all met. Me and Lily clicked. Coming out the show, which I can say now because they can't like tell me off for it, we were texting constantly. We were on FaceTime before the show. Before we even got casted, we were like, if anything happens, we found each other. I got casted on Thursday, and I didn't want to text her because I was like, I don't know if she's been casted yet, because they told me they were casting from Thursday to Saturday. So I got casted on the Thursday. I then texted her on Sunday, and I think I just put like the eyes emoji, like, and she replied, yeah. So instantly we're like, oh my God, we're going to be the top 3 together. We're going to be roomies, like all that fun stuff. When we were in the house, me and her, not the house, when we were isolating in the hotel, me and her texting, FaceTiming, whatever else, we get to go on socially distanced walks. I went on the walk and I saw some bright neon pink hair walking around the corner. And when I tell you I ran, I literally
Right.
ran after Megan. I grabbed her and I was like, I remember you from auditions. And she was like, Barry, I knew you were going to be here. I told my mom if anyone said he was going to be here, it was you. And I was like, yeah, of course, I am the icon. So I took her number, and initially, because I know that she's an only child and she hasn't been away from home before, initially I said to Lily, look, let's make a group chat just to message her every so often so she's comfortable. We don't have to like swamp her and like, you know, do what we're doing on FaceTime every 5 minutes having cigarettes. But let's just keep her comfortable and make sure she's okay. With that, every single night and every single day, the three of us were on FaceTime constantly. When we left the hotel to go to film, because obviously like they take our phones off us, we didn't want it to come up like the top 3 group chat, which I think it was called, or like the icons or something like that. So we changed it into book club. So if they saw our phone, just come up, book club, like X person sent a message.
The book club.
We're smart like that. We play the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect support. It's just in me to support people. So when Sizer was getting eliminated, when Lily got eliminated, when Meg got eliminated, I was like, this doesn't define you. This show doesn't mean anything. You're amazing. You're this, you're that. And then as soon as like it was my turn, I was like panic mode, like not texting people, like barely on my phone, like just like scared. And they were like doing the same thing for me that I did for them. And I didn't expect it. And when it was there, I was like, I don't know how to feel because being confident, it makes me uncomfortable. But I'm so grateful for them. Like the 3 of them this last week have been so supportive and so incredible.
Who's a mate of yours, I'm sure, says, does it feel good to have left the show on such a stunning performance? You ate that single.
I said,
how does that feel?
When I knew, because I knew I was in the bottom 2 as soon as we hit the critiques. Like, I was scared because we didn't get to see anybody's interview. We didn't know what the playlist team were going to say. We only saw Live Lounge. So I was kind of hoping that my interview would pull me out. It didn't. So as soon as I was in the bottom 2, I was like, I don't know what it is, because I was very nervous on the show. Like, there was so many times that they cut out comments like from Becky being like, maybe you shouldn't wear your heels when you're trying to sing because your legs are shaking. Like, when I did Signature Song, I had those purple trousers on. They were ruffling. When I did any sort of performance, my legs were shaking because I was so scared. When I walked in to do the elimination, part of me knew I was going home. And I don't know what it was in me that knew I was going home, but I knew I was leaving in that, like, during the sing-off. So I was just like, if I'm going to leave, I'm going to give them the best performance they've seen from me all season. So I made sure that, and you can see it in my face, like, there is such a calm in what I'm singing versus, like, Live Lounge, where I'm overcompensating because I forgot the words.
As an artist, I fuck up the lyrics. Like, every show, I can guarantee you there'll be about 3 songs that I've messed up the lyrics on. But in this show, everyone was forgetting the lyrics. Is this something that happens to you normally, or was it the pressure?
I only forgot the lyrics during the... Oh, no, that's a lie. I forgot the lyrics to another song. Which, this was so funny, because when Emel... So the judges actually asked us each to say what we thought about the other person's version of our song. And as soon as I finished singing, I think there's a bit like in the TV edit version where it's like, I don't care what they say, I'm going to do it my way. I made that up on the spot because I just went blank. And when they were like, Nena, what do you think? I was like, shit. And she was like, I loved it. I was like, great, sat down. And then when Emel was like, Okeem, you forgot my favourite words. I was like, Okeem, you're in trouble, boy. You're in trouble because the judges have been on it about the words.
Like, you are good to kind of talk to, and I think music as well is about connection. Like, you want to feel that you connect with someone, which is why throughout the series I thought when you showed that vulnerability, I wish we got to see that more, because that's very relatable. As an artist, you do get nervous. But moving on, like with the last 3 that are there, I know some of you guys, probably all of you guys know who probably has won the show, but who is maybe your favourite of the last 3 that are there?
I don't think it's fair to pick a favourite. I think for me, when I left the show, they asked me who I thought was going to win, and what I said was, I think competitions need to, I said during a competition, it has to be week by week. It has to be what what you did on that week. I don't care what you did last week. You could have done the best in the last 3 challenges. If you did bad on this 4th challenge, you should be in the bottom 2, because that's how competitions work. If you're in a race with someone and you're doing, or a boxing match, and you do amazing in 6 rounds and you get knocked out in the 7th round, you're not going to win. You've just been knocked out. That's how it works. It's a competition.
So if you're saying that, do you agree with Amel's comment? Because we had this conversation about the judges actually said we're going to base this off the entire competition.
She was very upset about this, and me and her have had multiple conversations about this. They should not have said that. Yeah. If you are in a competition and the setting is you have a bottom 2, if you're going to base it on the competition, then don't do a bottom 2. Because if you're getting each week and you want to say we're taking the whole competition into account, then just send home 5 people now, because you clearly know what you want from the challenges. There's no point doing a last chance if you know what you want. So I said, for me, Mia had done exceptionally well in 2 challenges, but she had been in the bottom 2 for 2. Dylan had done exceptionally well in 2 challenges on the first episode, but every other episode he was kind of falling. And I said, Nenna did the opposite. She kind of started off very stagnant, had a little this, and then she kept going up. So I said when I left, I was Team Nenna. Yeah.
In my last review, I've said Nenna has just, like, this past 2 episodes, she's come out of nowhere for me. But that could be also an edit.
I call Nenna mother, not just because I'm gay and I'm calling someone mother. I'm calling Nenna mother because, you know, a mum, when they have, let's say, like, they're doing something, they let their children get on with it first. Then when they need to step in and take over, they take over. Nenna was that person. Nenna, from the beginning of the show, is very quiet, very softly spoken. She wasn't really involved in anything in the first 2 challenges, like, in terms of, like, bigger things. The O2, she kind of had that little moment where she was like, I'm stressed out, I want to do well. Then episode 3, again, she just kind of kept to herself. It wasn't until episode 4 where she was like, this episode was like, when Jason did the impression when he was like, who's hosting? I was dead. Why is he singing so aggressive? Why is he so sad to be levitated?
Yeah,
he read me. He read me for Phil, the back row.
He did. He was part of the book
opening
club.
The book and reading.
He had a book ready to read you. But before you leave, what's next for Barry? What can we expect?
The Barry Hendy experience. The next stop on the Barry Hendy experience train, self-love. That's the next step. And I think it's very easy for any of us to be like, I'm going to release 17 singles and I'm going to do a collab with this person. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. The next step is self-love. Because coming out of that show, I saw, coming out of it was one thing, and then seeing it, I can see a lot of the things that I don't like about myself. And I'm ready to work on those things and love me, because I haven't loved me for a very long time. And I'm ready to do so. And once I've got that out of the way, then it's a #1 single, a #1 album, 3 Grammys, a chart-topping thing, and a whatever else.
Honestly, again, like I said, you are an extremely talented person, and I think you're doing an amazing job. I think it's just honing that self-love. I think it's honing some of your characteristics. It's not changing who you are. So I think as much as you've seen something on TV that feels, oh, I wish I didn't do this, or I wish I came across like this, those aren't really negative things. You just need to take it as, like, actually, I can work this personality in different directions. I can have that power and the focus that you have in your music and who you are and in your message. You're an amazing person. Don't let anyone tell you you're not. And anyone on Twitter, fuck yourself, because thank you. That's going to be the thumbnail to the video, because I just feel like people need to be kind. People... Not the wig. No, okay.
Keith lives on the shelf above our stairs. Sorry.
And also quite scary.
Keith is my baby daddy, and Keith. He lives on the stairs outside of my bedroom. He's going to do some other things that suffice.
Harry, thank you so much, and your friend, for joining me. I'm so grateful that you've kind of interacted and enjoyed the reviews. It's nice to get support from you as well.
I was like, wow,
no, thank you.
Dead thing.
You're like, who is that?
Who is
I'm excited to follow your journey. Let's stay connected. Good luck at the show as well.
Tuesday, the 26th of April at the Half Moon Putney. Tickets are online for £7.50 or on the door for £10. Come and see glam pop, not glam rock, in its full fantasy, and maybe Keith will make an appearance.
Thank you, Barry. Have a good
Lovely
rehearsal,
speaking to
and we'll
you.
catch up soon.
Bye.
Thank you.